Yes, hello. Welcome to the PE Insights podcast. No interest in funny jingle at the minute. We have got a special edition today. It's come out midweek. This is a conversation with Will Swaithes from the PE Scholar, and he's going to be talking about some exciting opportunities for anyone involved in physical education. Alongside sharing his PE insights, we're going to dive straight into it. Hope you enjoy it. Hi, Will. Good morning. Welcome to the PE Insights podcast.
Thank you, Nathan. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, thank you for dedicating this morning to coming on and having a conversation. Lots of exciting news and opportunities and stuff that we're going to have a chat about today. So thanks. For the listeners then, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I guess how far do you want to go back, Nathan?
Yeah, how long's a piece of string? You can spend as little or as long on this as you like.
You give me one of those timeouts when you think I've talked for too long. But
Yeah, we'll do.
yeah, I guess with other people and the other podcasts I've listened to, it's quite nice to hear that bit of background story and that educational journey. So I guess,
Yeah.
like many people, I played lots of sport as a kid. I was really lucky. My parents and particularly my grandmother put a bat or a ball in my hand from the moment I could pick one up. I grew up in the countryside, so kind of outdoors and exploring and playing was a big part of my life. By secondary school, I was playing a lot of squash, tennis, rugby. Again, quite privileged. My parents were able to and willing to ferry me around the country for tournaments, for training. But alongside that, I guess I got in quite a bit of trouble at school. I had two of my best mates got expelled from my secondary school. And I'd not really found a love of classroom learning yet. So I think I was, I guess, in a place where I didn't really value or think I was any good at academic learning. But sport outside of school gave me that kind of confidence and ability to reach beyond my primary school circle of friends. And that, I guess, then opened up other opportunities and mixing with different groups of people led me to picking GCSEs, and I picked art and PE because I wanted a bit less time in the classroom. At one point, I thought I wanted to be an architect, and I spent a lot of my after school and weekends working at my dad's garage. So he was a mechanic, so doing basic jobs with cars. And I guess probably growing up, people thought that would be where I'd go. Always better with my hands than my brain. But then I got a new PE teacher. So again, that story of Mr. Hawksworth, I doubt he's still listening, but I know he's still involved in education. So he unlocked that kind of learning potential, if you like. And I don't really know why, but anything that was related to PE just stuck in my brain. It wasn't hard for me to recall it, wasn't hard for me to apply it. And then from, I guess, about the age of 15, my formal education started to matter to me. So I'd got heavily involved in coaching a number of different sports. And next I found myself aspiring to go to Loughborough Uni. So I guess I had a goal, and that was a purpose, and it got me to realise and unlock how can I learn stuff. Went to Loughborough Uni, amazing place to spend 4 years, kind of an ecosystem all about activity.
Yeah.
For me, that was dominated by playing squash. And then I guess the obvious choice at the end of that for me, and in a way a somewhat selfish one actually, I got a lot of enjoyment out of seeing other people enjoy, grow, develop in and through sport. So becoming a PE teacher meant that I could do that during the day and have holidays and have weekends and continue to do those pursuits and things in my own life. But also I needed constant stimulation. Like I would not last 5 minutes in an office job. So that kind of barrage of questions and conversation and tweaking stuff that you need to do in a classroom or on a sports pitch or on a field really kind of worked for me. So I left uni, desperate to leave studying behind and exams and written work. I thought, I'm done with that. I just want to work and enjoy life now. So then early into my career, I guess I feel I was quite lucky again. I hated the name, but managed to secure an advanced skills teacher status role.
Yeah.
So that made me focus on honing my craft as a physical educator. So for me, that was really important. I felt because I did a sports science degree and then a 1-year PGCE, perhaps I didn't get that depth of learning about how children develop, about
Yeah.
how teaching can be supercharged.
Yeah.
And then secondly, that AST role meant I did a lot of work supporting other teachers to be the best versions of themselves and how to help them be unique in their teaching style. That led to moving around a few schools, eventually senior leadership role and leading teaching and learning. And then I guess after that, I thought it was going to be a sabbatical and a route back to teaching. But I spent some time at Youth Sport Trust, loved working there for 4 years. And that
Yeah.
then hooked my interest in research again, I think. So off the back of that, I did my master's in educational leadership and really started to delve deeper into reading research papers. And that led me into teacher ed, so leading the PGCE at Birmingham City Uni, picking back up and supporting a little bit with Ash Casey and colleagues at Loughborough Uni with their PGCE, doing some work with Buckingham University on their residentials and visiting their trainees, typically in independent schools.
Yeah.
And then I guess that leads me to today. So I kind of feel I'm a big fan of that Japanese term of ikigai, that kind of finding
Yeah.
your sweet spot. And I think e-scholar is where that sweet spot is for me. Like I've got that purpose of how do we close the research practice gap? How do we help everyday practitioners be the best they can be? But more importantly, how can we help teachers make PE positive experiences for everyone? So yeah, I guess that's where I am right
Yeah.
now.
Amazing. Quite the journey. And you like to keep yourself busy, don't you? Not just working with one university, but 3 or 4 and the stuff with PE Scholar.
I don't think any one place could put up with me full time, so I screwed myself about it.
Fair enough. What does so let's talk about physical education specifically. What does it mean? You've kind of alluded to it and what it did for you as a person and your development. But what does it mean to young children? What does it mean as a subject from your perspective?
Yeah, and I think I will recycle back to the why it's important to me personally, because I think that
Yeah,
helps paint the picture of. Apologies for that. I
that's
think
all
that
right.
paints a picture as to why it's important to young people. So not necessarily PE initially, but certainly sport as a young
Mm,
person. It gave me a sense of belonging, and that was really
yeah,
important. It helped me achieve something, and then consequently, I guess I was motivated to achieve more and
yeah,
cope with adversity. Coping with not
mm,
always being the best and striving to be better.
yeah,
It helped me grow in confidence, and then I guess perhaps the most important one, it helps me, or it helped me be happier, be healthier, be more active, be more
mm,
able, and that's what I guess I want to help the next generation with. So that I call it the ha-ha or the aha moment of let's help
mm,
make young people be happier first, more active, because that is our USP, be healthier, and know that we're only a small part of that cog. We can't fix the physical, social, and emotional turmoils
yeah,
of life, but we can
mm,
certainly be great advocates for and role models
mm.
of how you can look after that. And then obviously the more able bit. And I think that's probably more able as humans, not just more able as
As sports people.
sports
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
mm,
So I guess that's why I think it's important for all. And I guess PE is that timetabled lesson, isn't it? That it's every child gets a chance and is expected to do some physical education. Some of
mm,
them haven't yet found a love for sport, physical activity, movement. They haven't made it habitual yet. So they're the people that need us most. Um, I
mm,
guess I've just jotted down here actually, Nathan, 3 kind of quotes or sources that spring to mind. So I don't know if you've come across, I'm sure you will have done. UNESCO talk about physical education as the most effective means of providing all children and young people with the skills, attitudes, values, knowledge, and understanding for lifelong participation in society. Like, I really like that. It's that part of contributing to society that hooks
yeah.
for me.
It's quite similar to the physical literacy consensus statement as well, and its language, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the
Absolutely.
tweak at the end is the contribution to society.
Yeah, and it's those domains of learning, isn't it? And
Mm,
that's why I've been involved in that physical literacy work, because I really see how that fits, and it's that life course
mm,
journey. And it's a big
yeah,
ask, a big ambition of our subject. But
mm,
for me, success is when someone finds you 10, 15, 20 years after they left your school and they're still active. That's where I
yeah,
kind of feel like we've achieved the holy grail. And then a kind of, I'm still a believer in some of that early Arnold work, education in, through, and about movement. I think that return to the roots of
Yeah.
movement, not
Yeah.
necessarily traditional sport, is where the future needs to sit. And then I'm sure he'll be a future guest for you, but I've had lots of great conversations with Mikhail Quindestat. So, that idea of the only real sustainable aim of PE is more
It's more
PE.
PE. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that,
Mm.
I guess, in a nutshell, that's why I think it's important for young people. And
Yeah. It'd be I'd absolutely love to have Mikhail on. He's inspiration, isn't he? But what you get up out and about. You've talked about going into schools in Birmingham, in the sort of Loughborough area, Birmingham area, working with independent schools from Bucks. What do you see is happening to PE at the minute? At present, is it changing? Is it?
I
What's
think,
your perspective on that?
yeah, I guess in some places it's changing a lot and it's unrecognizable to perhaps what I experienced when I was a boy at school. And then in other places, I think it's very resistant to change.
Mm,
So yeah, I would probably say that it's quite fragmented out um, in the real world. But I also think it's quite fragmented in terms of people's opinions about what it should look and feel like.
mm,
And there almost seems this rub, this conflict between what the purpose of PE is. And if you get,
yeah.
and I think that's because people have got different, ideologies and different kind of underpinning principles or theories that are helping with their outlook. And so they're quite, I don't know if it's for lots of us, that kind of competitive spirit in us of trying to hold on to our words. But often,
Yeah.
99% of what
Yeah.
people are arguing about, they align in their outlook
Mm,
on, but they use slightly different words for it. And therefore, it almost comes across like they're disagreeing.
mm. The semantics. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was
Yeah.
and I was speaking to Professor Ash Casey recently, who you've mentioned already, and he was talking about PE not being physical education isn't a thing in terms of like that was his words. We can't describe it. It's not a thing, and that it has to be moldable to context and stuff. So there's always going to be unique differences
Yeah.
depending on where you are, right? And everyone has a different opinion of what it is.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. When you look at what people are trying to do and what they want to achieve, they are so very similar. There's just the unique changes in semantics along the way.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about PE Scholar a bit more then, and the exciting news and stuff that's happened recently.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. So I guess there's two exciting bits of news. The first one is, if people didn't see it, back in January we released a whole load of these.
Mm,
So a free to download resource pack all about how can we help. And when I say we, the collective of all physical educators, make PE stand for positive experiences for all. So it's kind of
mm,
a load of learning that I've taken over. A lot of it from Sport England teacher training program that I was involved in with secondary
yeah,
schools, but also more broadly as I get that lucky look into PE in so many different settings, what
everywhere. Yeah.
things could help tweak it, make it a little bit better. So there's hopefully a whole load of materials in there that people could, if they Google positive experiences PE pack or PE scholar positive experiences, they'll grab a hold of all of that. And I guess if you want to dig deeper than that, we've put a lot of time into kind of a courses portfolio that sits on PE Scholar. So again, during my early career, I always got really frustrated that inset days and CPD rarely helped me as a PE teacher. I had to work quite hard to translate it into how's that of use to
Mm,
me.
yeah.
So I guess the big thing we want to be is that go-to place for practitioners to bring research and practice to light with templates, with ideas, with some of the heavy lifting done, because we
Yeah.
know teachers are too busy to dig deep, or in fact, a lot of the research sits behind a paywall of
Yeah.
university
Access. Yeah.
logins to be able to
Mm,
access it.
mm,
And then I guess both of those two things have also led to the big exciting news of this month of the fact that we've been kind of announced as Oak National Academy's curriculum partner for PE. So
mm,
that kind of, I'm a big believer in we need to pay it forward, and I feel like I've
Yeah.
learned a lot over the last 25 years in education. I want to try and find ways to how can I support other people to, yeah, keep learning for themselves, but also pick up some of those nuggets and take it forward.
Mm.
So over the next 18 months, we're going to be building, testing, and publishing what we're hoping will be a really coherent and well sequenced curriculum that goes from Key Stage 1 right through to Key Stage 4, including examination PE. Really, really excited about that, and kind of delighted that it now means I spend most days catching up with Catherine Fitzpatrick. If you've not come across her from Complete PE, so she's kind of my partner in crime, leading on the
Yeah.
primary stuff while I lead on the secondary stuff. And we've got this big ambition that, how do we really paint that learner journey all the way through PE that meets the needs of the majority, not the sporty. And I want to
Mm.
outlaw that phrase. I don't think it's helpful. But yeah, trying to make it fit for all.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to in the future get both yourself and Catherine back on the P Insights podcast and have a chat about how that journey's going for you. But yeah, really exciting times for everyone, isn't it? And there's going to be a lot of work, a lot of content to be created.
Yeah, and again, on that, if anyone's interested, we're at the moment advertising for content creators. Later down the line, we'll be looking for people to get involved in testing and feeding back and reviewing, and then also we'll want those early adopters of some of what we push out from September to help tweak the other bits that we're hoping to deliver the whole package by the end of next academic year. So yeah, get in touch. If you put again PE Scholar Oak into Google, you'll find a landing page which will be kept up to date with where we're at on that at any moment in time.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit more about physical education. Then you work with trainees, or you no longer work, or you're still working with trainees, but
Yeah,
not
yeah,
in that teacher education sense, I guess. What are your top tips then for? Let's start with a teacher that's in their training. What's your go-to?
I think I've got two. Number
Go
one
on.
is smile. It's
Right.
infectious. Like
Yeah.
often, again, I was in school yesterday observing a trainee, and it was like I try not to make it feel like a judgment or an interrogation, and I try to hide in the background of the room, but
Easier said than done,
no,
isn't it? Yeah.
exactly. And so he was nervous and he was concentrating, but almost you can't lie with your facial muscles, can you? So I
No.
just think if we can smile more, it's infectious. The kids think or know that you're having a good time, and that gets mirrored back. But also, I think in smiling more, it opens up that ability for students to show kind of, I guess, some of their truths back to you, so we can, show some compassion, listen to our biggest critics. We can make the most of finding out what young people want from our subject. How we make them feel is far more important than telling them what we know. I think the first big message is, start with the smile. And then I have this acronym of SAFE. All PE lessons should be safe, which is my go-to, and it's kind of not just health and safety safe, but
Yeah.
actually from start to finish of every lesson, let's focus on S for safe, and not just physical safety, but also emotional and social safety.
Psychological safe space. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. A for
Mm.
active. That's the USP of our subject, isn't it? So
Yeah.
if they're not moving,
Mm.
we've got a problem. F for fun. We could talk for a long time about whether fun is
Mm.
enough.
Yeah.
And I know,
Yeah.
meaningful PE and other frameworks, but I've had challenging conversations with lots of head teachers about whether fun should be a part of the curriculum, and I
Yeah.
absolutely believe it should.
And whether things can be meaningful that aren't fun. Yeah, that's a can of worms.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I like through the meaningful PE framework that um, distinction between enjoyment and delight. And
Yeah.
when I think about that, I almost think enjoyment is in the moment, and the delight is, well, I'm delighted if I've had a few weeks where I don't enjoy a 5K run, but if I've been doing it regularly over the last couple of weeks, I'm
Yeah.
delighted that it's good for me.
Hmm.
Um, and then the E of safe for everyone involved or everyone included. And again, I think if we read the Ofsted research, if we see some of the critics, some of the, I still think PE is quite a Marmite subject where some children love it and it's the place they'd like to be every day, and others will avoid it at all costs. So
Yeah.
how do we, again, as PE teachers, often we had a positive experience of PE, so we give that back to the next generation. I think we need to go, let me put on my goggles where I only see those that aren't smiling or don't seem to be involved, enjoying it. Or if I turn my back, who's going to stop? They're the people I want to
Yeah.
listen most
Yeah.
to.
Mm. And you also talk a lot about that Goldilocks approach to challenge as well, and I guess that fits in with the inclusivity thing as well, making sure it's
Yeah,
the right level.
I guess that's my next step. Like you were talking about, what my top tips for trainees, and
Yeah.
then I think once they've embedded those few, smile and be safe.
Mm.
Yeah, what you've just said there is my next one. I'm like, you can't, whether you want to call it adaptive teaching or differentiation, you cannot, when you think of all the different activities and all the different prior experiences and exposure that children bring to those things. So yesterday I was watching a tennis lesson, um, and the breadth of previous
Mm.
experiences, but also attitudes and motivations towards playing some tennis was so
Yeah.
broad that I'm like, you cannot teach to the top. You shouldn't be teaching to the middle. But what you should be doing is, children come to school to practice, not to perform. So we've got to find a way to, and for me, that's teach them the step principle and empower them and expect them and create an environment where they're motivated to adjust the space, task, equipment, or people to make it hard enough. Get in that struggle zone, like you say. Get
Yeah.
Goldilocks. But then, as a teacher, it's about you've created that environment and that expectation. Now step back and let it happen. Like
Mm.
it's not about you and what you say and what
Yeah.
you do. It's about what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's I think that's a not a common misconception, but sometimes misuse of the step principle, that the teacher feels they need to be in charge of the step itself. And actually, if you provide the students with the opportunity to change the space, the task, the equipment, then it gives the ownership is on them to find the challenge themselves rather than you placing the challenge there. Yes, you can guide the process, but give them that ownership, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they enjoy it more. Like, what do we want most in life? To feel like we own and that we're heard. So
Yeah.
give them the chance to own and adapt. Like the best games, the best PE lessons I've ever had in my career have been the ones that are games that the children have created and that they've had some skin in the game of the design of it and
Mm.
the scoring systems or the reward systems or whatever those things are. So yeah.
Yeah. And then what do you say then when, because you often do lots of workshops and conferences, what do you say to the more experienced PE teacher? Because some, I'm assuming there might be slightly different conversations.
Um, yeah, I guess so. And I still have that conversation of, our job is about inspiring, challenging, developing all students to fall in love with moving. And
Mm.
therefore it's the hardest to reach children that have got the most to gain from us. And so getting us to, I think often more experienced PE teachers and subject leaders have spent a long time defending the space of PE. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's important to get them in a safe space where they can hold up a mirror and actually take off the suit of armor that they've been using to protect their subject and go, there is some things that are wrong with this.
Yeah.
What are they? And in a safe space, can we talk about them and explore and think about those from a
Mm.
different perspective? Um, so yeah, I kind of think helping them reflect more and finding time to do that. Like I think for me, I think COVID was a great trigger for me in terms of trying to start and end the day with a walk or I did a lot of traveling with visiting schools and
Visits. Yeah.
conferences,
Mm.
etc. And I often love listening to your podcast, to other podcasts, to audio books and
Mm.
trying to stay up to date with what's going on out there. But it's also really important to shut all that noise off and think about, I use that phrase of, are we really mad? Like, are we making a difference? I know we're working
Yeah.
really hard, but are we working really hard in the places where it's needed most?
Yeah.
Or are we just giving loads more time to those that are already hooked on our thing? Like it's dead easy, isn't it? And it feels good when you've got those students
Yeah.
kicking your door down for more of you.
Yeah. It's
But
easy to sit in that safe space, isn't it? Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah,
Mm.
so kind of thinking, what would you do differently? Who else could get more from you or something different from you?
Yeah.
And also that reminding practitioners that change is hard. Like in the same way that learning is hard, change is really hard, and we go through that kind of.
Mm.
I think it's like the grief curve of change of like in denial to start off with, then acceptance, and then we're in kind of chaos where our teaching gets worse for a bit when we're trying something new. Maybe having to go at
Yeah.
models based practice for the first time or first time for a while, and it all feels like you've lost control. Or again, my trainers have just moved schools, so you go to a new school, and all those things that you thought you'd cemented in your practice are
Yeah.
tested again.
Mm.
Keeps it fun and lively, but is not great for your confidence and your self esteem if you're not careful.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to reflect honestly, don't you, about your progress? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tricky one. This is a question that we didn't discuss before, but I know you are into your audiobooks and reading. Is there anything that you're reading at the minute that's um, inspiring your thought processes? Or
Uh, what am I on at the moment? So I'm in the middle of two at the moment. I'm doing the Diaries of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. Like I like his stuff,
yeah,
uh, and I'm also in the middle of Simon Monday's. It's not Champion Thinking.
yeah, champion thinking. Yeah,
So both of those I'm enjoying at the moment in terms of audiobooks. A couple of books like further back in time that I really enjoyed. So Guy Claxton wrote a really good book about the future of education,
mm.
um, and Anthony Seldon wrote one about like the fourth revolution of teaching or something. And again, just that trying to reflect a bit more on how should education change going forwards. There's some good stuff out there around. In fact, yeah, these two are good ones. So
I know we've talked previously about atomic habits, haven't we?
Atomic Habits, the 5 a.m. Club. So again, some of
Yeah,
those about getting the best out of me. This one, particularly when I'm in the independent sector, when I'm speaking to directors of sport or people in that space, reminding them to help their students and more importantly their parents realise that specialising early is not a good idea. And here's the
yeah,
proof. So the
mm.
best by Mark Williams and Tim Wigmore, and then Rob Gray did a really good one on how we learn to move.
That's a great book.
And again, like really
Mm.
challenges that idea that closed practice is a good idea. Like if a baseball coach is saying that closed drills are not the way forward to make the best baseball players, then no wonder, if we want to create more Roger Federers and Nadals of the world, then
Mm.
then we've got to, do play better.
Yeah, I was hoping to get Mo Jafar and Alex Becky on to have a conversation about that Rob Gray book because we've done some work around non-linear pedagogy and a constraints-led approach, which is, um, yeah, singing from the same hymn sheet, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what are some of your frustrations about the P space at the minute, Will?
Where do I start?
Mm,
You know what? I'm going to start with the positives. So I'm going to start with what excites me.
good.
Cool. So I think there's a real groundswell of interest and appetite for change, which is
Mm,
really positive. Like
yeah,
the hunger is there. Um, as we mentioned, I'm also really excited about this oak work. Like I think what Liz, what Catherine and I are hoping to create with the support of some amazing teachers, but also some great critics of what we're going to do for Oka. I'm excited by that and the fact that
yeah,
it's going to be out there in the world for free for anyone to do what they will with, adapt it, refine it, make it suit their context. But back to the question, what frustrates me? So firstly, I'm frustrated by the current fascination that knowledge is king and that cognitive science has created this formula for easy learning. Like it hasn't. Learning is hard.
yeah,
And that's okay. Like I'm okay with learning being hard as long as it's rich, it's interesting. It you know sucks and hooks learners in. It gets people interested and focused and wanting to learn more. Like for me, that's our job in education. It's about helping people understand. Yeah, it's hard, and there are some keys to help unlock doing it better. But it's also about being motivated by there's more reward in hard. Uh,
yeah, yeah. There is, yeah.
So yeah, so that
I think on the back of that as well, that the very nature of people saying that it's evidence informed practice, it is not because they're suggesting that one way is the way or there's a particular approach that's best for learning. Like, if someone is saying they're evidence informed but then saying there's one way to achieve something, then they're not, are they?
no,
Because they have an openness and you have to be pragmatic and context specific and understanding of the learners, and
absolutely. And the cognitive science bit. We've been talking about schema theory and about massed and distributed practice in sports psych and skill acquisition in PE for a really long time. And that's why I enjoyed that Guy Claxton book on kind of the future of teaching and the myths that hold it back so much. Is that it very much talks about this rhetoric around cognitive science, but you know what? There is another way, and it's Learning River. I love so that um, I'm the reality is that knowledge is in your pocket. It's on your smartphone, isn't it? And Chat GT, whatever it's called, can come up with much better answers to these questions for you. But I don't think they'll be as interesting as the human interaction of conversation. So we've
yeah,
got to help people be better humans, more so than more knowledgeable,
yeah.
containers.
Do
Uh,
you think our subject lends itself to a more problem solving um, learners using their affordances in the environment approach better than other subjects, perhaps?
I get what one of the great things about PE is that our national curriculum is a page and a half long. So there's a lot of freedom, isn't there, compared to the maths, the English, the subjects with SATs at primary and compulsory for
Yeah,
all GCSEs at secondary. So yeah, we are afforded some freedom of choice and some ability to flex what we do.
yeah,
And as you know, I'm a massive fan of that. How, PE is priceless. How do we use it as a vehicle to help children be better problem solvers, to be more resilient, to be more independent, to be more creative?
yeah,
And once we can help them do that in isolated PE spaces, can we help them see and value those things and then start to apply and develop them elsewhere? Like all the early teaching personal and social responsibility stuff by Don Hellinger. None of it got to the bottom of saying you can take this outside the gym. There isn't that direct correlation that says if you can become a problem solver on a football pitch, you'll be a problem solver and on the
yeah,
FTSE 500 next. But there
yeah.
has to be some
Some
connection.
transfer. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
Will,
so
can you try as best as you can to summarise some of the key messages for the listener from today?
no.
It's
um,
always the hardest part. So I think what you said about the opportunities for Oak is something that if you're listening and you missed that middle part, do reach out to Will. It's a fantastic opportunity, and huge congratulations to the P Scholar team for winning that bid, of course, in the first place. But really exciting. If anyone wants to get involved, then you can reach out to Will.
yeah. You've bought me some time to think there, so thanks, Nathan.
That was part of the thinking anyway.
Yeah, well, it's worked. I don't know whether I said it earlier, but I scribbled it as a note earlier that I wanted to say it about that whole idea of, along with, we come to PE to practice, not to perform. I
Yeah,
also quite often use this phrase to do well, you need to be well. And I think, that counts for children. I think we really need to concentrate on Maslow and movement before we think about higher order thinking skills. But it also counts as practitioners, as teachers. If we don't look after our own well-being, a bit like on a plane, if you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, then you can't be of service to others. Like becoming an educator is a service to others. It's
yeah,
why it's potentially a really satisfying job. We don't do it for the money, but the money's all right. But it's the other stuff that you get from it, the rich job satisfaction potential. But there will always be more work you can do. So decide what plates to stop spinning and to let land on the floor. Is, I guess, one key message I wanted to get across. I don't know if I did. You picked up the other one earlier, that helping children find their struggle zone, to teach them the step principle so they can immerse themselves in your lessons. They can hopefully even find a flow state where that hour or however long your lesson is flies by and they're hungry to come back for
yeah,
more. rather than, I really do think the days of instruct and command all to do the same and wait for the teacher to move them on needs to be behind us.
Yeah.
And then, I guess lastly, that point of create time to reflect. So off the back of each lesson, or at some point each day or each week, take time for yourself and think, was that lesson safe, active, fun, everyone included? But also, maybe at that point, start to look at those other lenses of meaningful PE, physical literacy, social justice, threshold concepts, delve deeper into some of that research informed practice to try and hold different lenses over what you do. And hopefully some of that heavy lifting's been done for people on PE Scholar. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Will, it's been a pleasure as always having a chat with you this morning.
Thanks, Nathan. Thank you so much for getting me on, and well done for all the episodes so far and the pipeline as well. It's exciting.